Guys tearing it up? How you doing?
Oi.
Tearing it up?
Oh, yeah.
Oi! I don't know where he's from. Anyway, time now for one of my favorite segments of the show, Coffee with Jeb. We did this one a little while back with Mr. Paul Major, who is the president of the Telluride Foundation. Telluride Foundation, coincidentally, putting on the Text to Give contest. If you like this show, TCTV to 90999. But I digress. Let's go have coffee with Paul Major. Now, can you tell me about where the money went from the foundation this year? The disbursement of grants.
We just finished our board meeting at the end of December and decided on all the grant disbursements for this year, and we're very pleased. The board approved $1,050,000 in grants to 82 different organizations, many of them that we know very well, you know, what we would call Main Street nonprofits, the Sheridan Opera House, the AHA School, the one-to-one mentoring, and across the board, we saw, number one, great organizations doing great work. There was a consensus within the board that we needed this year in particular to focus on core and essential services. This is the year, you know, 2008-9, where people, you know, displaced, losing jobs, whatever it may be, and so a lot of those social service, human service organizations were feeling the greatest impact. So there really was a shift, a conscious shift, to put more money into those human service organizations. San Miguel Resource Center, child care centers, places that really feel the direct impact of a downturn in the economy.
How does the economy affect an organization like the foundation?
Well, it's actually what we're doing is we're really fighting the tidal wave of giving. You know, really, the tidal wave is going out. You know, up until 2007, you had basically three things going on. You had lots of tax revenue coming into government, state, local, federal government, and they had money to give. So if you thought about it, you know, our case grants were at a peak in 2007, over $360,000. Number two is foundations. They were at the highest point of their asset value. So if you think about the Ford Foundation or the Betchert Foundation in Denver, their asset base, which is what they live on to give away grants, was at the highest peak.
So this is like where their money's invested and they're getting interest and dividends.
And those foundations, they live off the interest income.
Okay.
So when they're getting 15% returns, it means they can give out 10% in their asset base in grants. So it's a multiplying effect. When their investments go down by 20%, and the average across all foundations in the country, they lost 25% in 1 year.
Wow.
So that, you know, they lost a quarter of their assets in 1 year. And here they were already giving away hundreds of millions of dollars if it was the Packard Foundation or the Ford or whatever. So you can imagine the dramatic, you know, shift of what they had and how they had to react.
And does some of that money go to the foundation?
It does. And then the third thing that we're really fighting is individual giving. Obviously, when people start to, you know, become insecure about their own finances, they start to cut back on their charitable giving. So we'll see a dramatic decrease in charitable giving, probably for the first time in 20 years. So we fought that trend, and actually we gave away the highest amount ever at the Telluride Foundation, 25% more even than in 2007.
Was that to try to sort of counter the effects of all this other tightening of the purse strings?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. This is when the money is needed most, is when there's a downturn in the economy. This is when nonprofits need the money most, because all of those things are working against them that I talked about before.
So how do you do that? I mean, do you have money that you keep for an occasion like this?
I squirreled away a bunch of money. No.
It's under the mattress.
Right. No, what we did was we had a 4-year plan, and we had projected this. So we were on this four-year plan regardless. And our only issue was, did we have enough cushion to still perform on that 4-year plan? So at the end of 2007, when everything was or 2008, when things were starting to go upside down, we looked at that very carefully and said, could we still reach that, you know, the third year in our 4-year plan? And we said yes, and we did execute on that. So we were able to.
So you're looking at this right when it was happening.
You know, as soon as the market went south in November of 2008, we said this is a different world. This is not,
Did you have any idea how different a world it was?
I had no idea.
And how drastic it would be?
But we had a pretty good sense by talking to some of our board members and looking at the papers and, going, this is not just a little bubble.
Right.
You're talking about fundamental, financial collapse across the world, potentially. So we better get ready for a whole new world. And so we actually had meetings with nonprofits. We had a lot of, internal discussions about what was going to happen. And I think it was all healthy. But, the reality is we're living in a different world now.
And what happens after the 4-year plan?
We have another 4-year plan.
What's that?
Well, we're actually going to work on that in March with the executive committee.
Is it going to be okay, or is it?
I think so. I think the unique position about the Telluride Foundation is that we have very generous donors in Telluride.
So that even in hard times, people can step up to the plate.
Right. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is donors are still going to give, and they're going to give, and they're going to be very generous. Telluride just has to be a priority for them. And whether it's the AHA School or the Telluride Foundation or the one-to-one mentoring, we just have to make ourselves a priority in their charitable giving. Because there always will be charitable giving. But I think in 2007 you saw just so much giving to everything from A to Z. The people are now reevaluating what's really important to them, which is not bad. And if Telluride rises to the top, then we're in great shape.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeb.
Good luck on the next 4 years.
Thanks a lot.
We'll talk again soon.
Okay, great.
All right. Paul Major, President of the Telluride Foundation.